Adam, do you remember The Simpsons when
Yeah.
Milhouse tells Bart he's going to see a rated R movie?
Yeah, all the kids are really excited. They're about to they hop in the back of a truck or something like
And
that.
that rated R movie was
Barton Fink, Barton Fink. That's
What, really?
That's what they're chanting as the truck drives off.
he's like, "Hey Bart, my dad's gonna let us see a rated R movie."
Oh, it's really funny thinking about how Jewish this movie is too, and it being like a Millhouse thing. I don't know if that was like a part of it or if it was just like because they do that with another movie I remember too, where they
Naked Lunch.
yeah, Naked Lunch. Nelson walks out of Naked Lunch or something like that. He's like, I can think of two things wrong with that title, and it's like those are similar. But I wonder if they made it.
That was your
Millhouse
impression
for-
of that character?
Yeah.
Hey, I can think of two things.
Whoa. Is this Nelson?
Yeah, so that's the first time I ever heard of
Nelson.
Barton Fink, when I was a
Me
little
too.
kid. But I watched this movie a lot, like in middle school. I used to have the independent film channel and they would just play it like all the time. So I grew up like loving this movie.
It's kind of
And
scary.
It's kind of scary. It's a comedy, it's a black comedy, but this is the last movie for the LA Jobs month we're doing, and I was really struggling to think of a fourth movie because it's like, yeah, obviously there's a lot of Hollywood movies and like, there's The Player, there's Mulholland Drive, those would have been good picks, but like Barton Fink is
Right.
really good because it's like a guy I really like in Repo Man how he gets the job and then he has to like live with the job, and I like how in this movie he's a playwright, he gets the job going to Hollywood to write movies, and like then you see him struggle.
Hesitantly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then you see him actually struggle with the job. It's not just like The Player where it's like, yeah, he works in Hollywood, or Mulholland Drive, there's like one audition scene. It's like
Sure.
this is a movie about a guy who goes to LA and gets a job, and it's very specific. And I think this is our first Coen Brothers movies, which is I always held off on because they're like one of my favorite, group of like pair of directors, or one of my favorite directors. And like I wanted to wait till the show got good for us to start digging into some of my favorite movies, but since that's not going to happen, and
That's never going to happen.
we might as well
Not
just
if I can help it.
We might as well just burn through them all right now.
Yeah.
Let's just
Go
get
for
to
it.
the Fink of
We'll
it.
get better.
Let's just get to it. Yeah. So Ryan, you never heard of this?
I've heard of it. I just never seen it or knew anything about it. I've just knew the name because it's a funny name. Barton Fink.
Yeah. I mean, the Coen Brothers are pretty popular.
I didn't know.
so-
I had no idea it was a Coen Brothers movie until the credits at the end, or whenever their name popped up.
one of the first things you see in the movie.
Sure.
Why does he have like a Harry
don't know if I
Potter
saw that.
scar on his forehead? Oh, that's a mosquito.
The mosquito.
I always thought it was like a Harry
On
Potter
what?
scar on his forehead in the poster.
Yeah, because
Well-
he keeps getting mosquito bites, and everyone's like, "There's no mosquitoes in LA."
Oh yeah,
But there are.
yeah.
Now
get-
there
I-
are.
Yeah. Honestly, there probably weren't back then.
Well, when you have water,
There literally
They're-
wasn't until they come and go, until somebody brought some over on a ship, as it happens. Recently, though, in like
ships.
the last 15 years.
they migrate.
No,
They don't arrive on ships.
that's terrifying, dude.
Bugs migrate.
No,
From
but specifically mosquitoes.
Mexico and South America, they fly up. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Zika.
the
Mhm.
It's
appearance of
shrinking our
Barton
kids'
Fink,
heads.
we should talk about it. So
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
has to
feel
be
like
something.
it's clearly a reference to
the
Eraserhead.
Beetlejuice disease. Sorry, Adam
This-
and I are talking about the Beetlejuice
Oh
disease.
yeah, that is. They should have called it the Beetlejuice disease. Maybe they
Zika.
would have thought that was insensitive. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I have
doesn't feel good to get cut off, does it, William?
Well, did you know
Yeah.
I have Zika?
Oh,
yeah.
you
Well,
were
then
a
why is
baby
your
with
head still
Zika?
huge?
Well, actually,
But
because I
if-
got stung on my penis, so I have an extremely
yeah.
small Beetlejuice-like penis.
Just
cool.
It has-
just a
Just
shot,
the head.
just a tiny penis head. Yeah, it's
I have a
the
tiny
shaft is
penis.
normal.
Yeah, the shaft is normal, then it's a tiny little tip, and it
Shaft is a
squeaks.
normal average 3 to 4 inches average size.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that
And I
sounds
have-
a little. It's a
Well, I have
little above
stripes.
average,
I have
maybe.
black and white stripes on my penis.
Yep. The zebra, you got that zebra Zika.
Oh, nice.
And my pubes are have like frosted tips like Beetlejuice.
You
Oh,
got
that's
that.
cool.
Oh, you're
With
going
my root
Beetlejuice.
shell.
Yeah, I
I-
thought you were doing a Zebra Zika thing too.
And
Got that Guy Fieri frost.
and when I come,
Nice.
I
That's
blast
cool.
Zagnut nougat.
And you can only come if you say Beetlejuice 3 times.
Look,
Willie
if you
juice.
guys
Willie
wanna
juice.
talk
Willie
about-
juice. Willie juice.
if you want to talk Beetlejuice, I can
Willie
get
juice.
deep.
All right. So Barton
okay.
Fink.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
know,
Barton Fink's appearance, I think, is based on Eraserhead. It's a reference, but I mean,
I
also
was
look,
gonna ask that. It
It
looks a
seems
lot.
like
Yeah.
he also does resemble a real New York playwright who went to LA to make movies named fuck, I already
Hey.
forgot his name.
Hey.
Claude Odette or some shit. What's his name?
you know who uses erasers? Writers.
Hmm.
That could
So
be a
what were
thing.
you saying, William?
Might be a clever little joke from the Coen brothers. They share similar levels of humor that with me.
Adam,
I
he
can-
used
I
a
can see it.
typewriter. He didn't. There's not a pencil in the movie at all.
Pretty sure I remember him erasing something one time. Oh,
Clifford Odets. That's who he's based on. So Clifford Odets is
Odets.
a writer from like the 30s. He's like pretty lefty. He
Cool.
This guy was like a very famous playwright who's kind of been forgotten because like I'm sure you've heard of Arthur Miller.
yeah,
his-
the Crucible guy.
Yeah, like basically in the 50s,
God, that
they
looks
kind of
just like him.
overshadowed. They kind of overshadowed him.
There were a
But
lot
this-
of so like socialist writers in Hollywood in the 30s or something like that, right?
Yes, this guy got I think he got blacklisted. He never made a wrestling picture, so this is something else that should be talked about. In Barton Fink, his job is to write a wrestling film. This is not a real genre of movie. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
And
It
it,
was
but it
tripping me
seemed
up
like
the whole
he's like it's the most difficult genre of writing ever. Everyone
no,
just
no.
does the same. Because he wants to be all heady about it and like write something that changes the
That's
world.
very funny.
And the producers are like, just a fucking B-rated movie. Just have like a love interest or an orphan. They were
Yes.
obsessed with a love
So-
interest or an orphan.
what it really is though is that it's a boxing picture. Now there is an actual boxing movie subgenre that has existed from the beginning, like because boxing actually has winners and losers and consequences, unlike wrestling, which is a
Hey,
grift.
hey, whoa,
The
whoa.
wrestler was dope.
This-
Yeah, so actually wrestling pictures since Barton Fink, because it's like if you think about it, WWF in the 80s, the golden age of wrestling, like that really raised the profile of wrestling. So you had like No Holds Barred. Barton
I would
Fink is about
disagree and
wrestling.
say today
Yeah,
is the golden age.
well, that's not what it's called though. I don't know what
watch
today is
wrestling
called.
now? You like wrestling now, Ryan?
No, but I mean, Dwayne the Rock Johnson came out of like now wrestlers
that's-
are making like
that's-
multi-billions of dollars, and
That was
I'd
like,
say that's
Ryan.
pretty
that was like
golden.
15 years ago.
That's like 20 years ago. That's called the Attitude Era.
It's still happening.
No, it's not.
No,
The
the
Attitude Era
greatest,
was
the golden era was when Hulk Hogan flipped. That was the greatest moment in wrestling history.
I was
heel turn.
that I got pulled back into it in that part. I watched it when I was really little, and then I got back into it when I was like 15.
Smooth.
14.
Barton Fink would have been better if Hulk Hogan was his neighbor instead of John Goodman.
Yeah.
John Goodman. Also, right out the gate, I was like, well, that dude's obviously a fucking serial killer. Like right the first interaction with them. Because there's just weird noises coming out of his room.
There's
and
not weird
then-
noises. He's crying. He's sobbing. So when
He's
Barton
like
checks
weeping,
into the
right? Yeah.
Barton checks into the hotel in LA, and it's like a metaphor for hell. It's just like the world's shittiest hotel.
Yeah. The
And-
walls are made out of cum.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean a metaphor for hell?
Well, there's all these like visual references to hell in the hotel.
Yeah. But
And
what is that supposed to mean?
Like a purgatory. Because he never wanted to do it. It's like He is so pretentious.
okay.
He is a New York
Okay.
playwright. He writes New York stuff. You didn't catch one of his rants? And I knew,
Yeah.
I
That makes sense.
know like 3 people in my life that I still talk to today that talk like him. And it's very frustrating to hang out. And I'm sure you can know, I'm sure you know one of that I'm talking about, but
of course. But like, that's the thing. Like Barton Fink, he wants to make art that will change the world and make it a better place.
so that's his hell is being
his
there.
play. Yeah. So his play gets a good review. They read it in LA. They go like, let's just hire this guy to write a wrestling picture, and when they say it's like, it's not a B picture, that obviously means it is a B picture. All he's supposed to do is write a 80-minute, very simple movie about a wrestler who, has to make a choice whether or not to like throw a fight because of a mobster. And there's like an orphan who needs money. Like he should be he just needs to write a very simple genre picture. Okay. And all this shit about like, I want that Barton Fink feeling. I want this and that. That guy obviously doesn't care about it. The studio head
they're
just
just gassing him up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
writers, the most important. I love all the jokes about like them just roasting writers throughout.
Yeah.
Like you guys are the most important part of this process.
Yes. They build them up and they tear them down. And now
Just
this was
having
a real
little fun.
this is a real thing at the time. Movies were, it was a new art form. It was trying to compete with the prestige of novels and the prestige of, because we still had pop art hadn't completely taken over by then. You still had traditional classical art that was respected and revered. So movies desperately, also being LA based versus the New York intellectual base.
Yeah,
like,
they're just trying to get a turnover.
They were trying to really make their new industry, kind of like the tech industry. They really wanted to be important. So they started hiring all these important and critically acclaimed writers like F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote screenplays, William Faulkner wrote screenplays. And most of these writers failed because a movie isn't a novel. A movie is, obviously shorter, dialogue based, it's visually based. And also back then they had very rigid genre tropes they were supposed to fit in. So Barton Fink, he immediately starts off on the wrong foot because he's convinced that his agent tells him like, if you do this for a few years, you can fund all your communist plays, socialist plays, or whatever the hell you want back in New York, right? So just do it.
A real sell out to buy in situation.
Yeah, so he's selling out, and that's like
Cool.
that's what it's essentially fucks him. So he's constantly in denial, or he's continually in denial throughout the entire movie about like
everything.
He has no idea what's going on. He doesn't
his neighbor, his like,
well, everything feels weird. Like everything's like,
yeah, well, it's all
weird.
like manic. And they did such a good job of like the Coen brothers of like getting that anxiety, or that like he's such a fish out of water.
Yeah,
he literally is just sitting in rooms and like everybody's yelling around him, and then somebody's like, all right, Barton, you did it, here's $1,000 a week, you're fired, to the other guy. Like that whole scene was
yeah. So
it's very Kafka-esque, one might say.
How so?
I don't know the reference.
Well, it's in the hotel. He does the stuff in the bad hotels.
Which Kafka story takes place in a hotel?
The hotel room.
So the difference between
the
this
Roach
movie
one. The Roach one.
So the difference between this
place.
movie
Joe's
and
apartment.
Yes.
Kafka and Barton Fink is that in a Kafka story, the character is just punished because the world is punishing. In this story, the character is in denial, is arrogant, is making bad decisions.
Narcissistic, selfish.
Yeah, he's making bad
Kafka-esque.
decisions, and he deserves his punishment. That's the whole point of Barton Fink.
Oh yeah, because he fucks the lady that one time, and then like that makes
Well,
things
no.
way worse.
No. From let's just go to the beginning.
He's just kind
Let's
of a
just go-
prick
But
at the
all
bar.
throughout.
Yeah, in New York at the bar.
He's full of himself.
Man's
First of all,
hubris.
calm down, Adam.
Very Kafkaesque.
We're telling you something, and you're just talking over us and
You're
trying to
thinking
steal.
us right
No,
now,
we're
dude. You're
all-
thinking our ass right now. We're literally
You-
talking about how Barton Fink acts like you are acting right now.
No, we're
Adam
all
is very Barton Finkish.
getting to
You're
the
thinking
point.
us, bro.
Genius writer, genius playwright.
Did you not hear the monologue John Goodman gives? You weren't listening. You weren't listening.
Yeah,
You
Adam
never
doesn't listen.
No, that
You don't listen.
You're the Fink,
I
bro.
was listening. Okay.
Okay,
I was
so
listening. I didn't watch this with my
here's
wife.
here's something that Barton Fink does that is a horrible decision at the beginning. He could be in a nice hotel. They're like, we'll get you a
Right.
nice hotel. He's like,
He goes,
"No,
the hotel's bad. We can move you to a better one.
He's like, no, I want to be with the common man. I want to like experience hell. And it's like, why would anyone do that? Dude, you're coming to LA. You're
You
probably
think-
not going to make it in the movie business. Just take all the money you can get, buddy. Like that's what the common man would do. And this is the central, not what's the word I'm
Demise.
trying- not irony. The contradiction of Barton Fink is that he wants to be the common man, but he never behaves ever like the common man. He never makes one decision
Well, he just
We
a
meet
common
him.
man would make.
In the first
Exactly,
scene,
and
we
he-
meet him in a tuxedo because it's like his big night or whatever. He's like a fancy
yeah,
guy the
yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, good job.
An intellectual,
You're right.
as they say.
What else does he wear in the movie?
His glasses.
Does he work hard?
Sometimes.
He works really
But
hard.
yeah, that the whole first interaction with John Goodman was great because he's like very timid about letting the guy in, very scared because he's big and angry neighbor that he just tattled on. But they start talking, and then when he goes off, he just keeps cutting him off, right? Like John Goodman's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got some stories I could tell
I
you."
I could tell you some stories.
And then he just
I
keeps
bet you
talking
could.
over about how he wants to be the common man, and he's like in his own world the entire movie.
Mm.
He's a real dingus. Yeah, he's in denial,
Yeah, he's like Adam Bowers.
which some would say is the most
What's that?
common man thing you could do. Ignorance
in
is
denial.
bliss.
That's
You just be
interesting, right?
stupid and then cry when bad things happen to you and then blame like God and everything else.
Yeah, that's what the common man.
That's literally the common man. Why do people get cancer and die, bitch?
So this movie was written.
That's just how it
by-
happens. I don't know, man.
This movie was written by the Coen brothers in 3 weeks when they were writing Miller's Crossing, the movie they made before this. And during the process of Miller's Crossing, they said it got very complicated because Miller's Crossing is like a film noir with lots of characters, lots of story threads, lots of double crossings, and they didn't say they suffered from writer's block, but it's a common. People will say like, oh, the Coen brothers had writer's block on Miller's Crossing, so they wrote a script about writer's block with Barton Fink. But
And had no writer's block writing it. They wrote it in like 3 weeks.
yeah, so basically, this movie flows really well, which is that, it has a really good setup, and Barton Fink interacts with like 3 people 3 times, and the 3 people the beats are he interacts with the studio head, he interacts with like
John Goodman.
John Goodman, the producer, and then the other writers that he goes to for advice. And then it just kind of like rolls through that cycle, which is a much easier kind of movie to write than like Miller's Crossing, which is just like
Billion characters. I've never
Yeah.
even heard of that movie.
it's good. But I
It's
like
not a-
Barton. The thing I like about Barton Fink versus Miller's Crossing is very, very dialogue heavy, very,
Mm.
it's very like precious
thought-
in a way. But I like Barton Fink because it's so much more of a visual.
I thought there was a
ride.
lot of physical violence in TJ Miller's Crossing. Or was that was
That's a
TJ
good
Miller's
one.
Crossing?
TJ Miller is known
a lot
for
of choking.
violence.
women
Yeah, I
and
thought there was a
stuff.
lot of domestic abuse in TJ Miller's Crossing.
I thought it just had great jokes, great hair, and very funny stuff. You know, I love that scene in T.J. Miller's Crossing where Gabriel Byrne squirts
He
himself
beats
with a
up the
water bottle.
Uber driver. Oh,
He squirts himself with a water bottle, and then he's covered with water for the rest of the movie.
that's actually really funny.
That's what T.J. Miller did in his comedy special. He takes the water bottle and the bar stool and just like pours it over his head, and he's just covered in water the whole show.
How does he do it?
That's
Like
comedy.
that? Like that?
I don't remember, but
If he does it like that, that's kind of funny.
I think he squeezes the bottle and it shoots up, splashing him.
Oh, he doesn't just do it directly into his face.
Who cares?
All right.
Adam?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that would be funny if he did that. I'm in.
See,
I would
Adam is
hate.
very
I would
I'm
hate
in
to try and describe
idea.
a Mr. Bean set to Adam.
I'll get a clear
Like, I
picture.
So he like.
remember-
So he
Many
like.
ways you
he-
can pour a bottle
He like
of water.
pretended he was like on the beach. Well, how did he? So how did he lay his towel out?
Adam would be.
How did he?
such a-
How did he pretend to lay his towel out?
Well,
Did
if
he,
you're
like,
saying that it's
flip it,
very
or
funny
did he-
that he did it, that he laid his towel out, I'd be
So
like, you know, how.
This is something I
specifically?
showed to Adam also. He watched it.
Yeah,
at
I
the
don't
house.
remember.
But like,
I don't remember.
imagine it. I don't remember either. So like,
Okay.
imagine if Adam was a cop, and he's just like,
Oh,
"This story's
Jesus.
bullshit." Their witness doesn't remember anything. You like arrest every person who calls in a crime.
Oh, just showing
yeah.
people his badge with his toe shoes.
Barton Fink. Okay, so let's talk about the
Love a
actors.
good
We
tofu
got
joke.
John Turturro is in the lead. We got John Goodman.
Boom, boom.
Yeah,
We got the dad from Frasier as the
the
drunk
Big
writer.
Lebowski, the
Oh.
entire Big Lebowski cast.
Steve Buscemi is Chet.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
George
that scene
Clooney
where he,
playing that
the scene-
character that he
the
plays in Oh
intro-
Brother, Where Art Thou?
the
He said what?
introduction to Steve Buscemi in this movie is so fucking funny. He just crawls out of that hole in the ground. Like, what the fuck's down there?
Hell.
What? So what? The hotel is hell? Just the
Yeah.
hotel?
Well,
Okay, so-
metaphorically,
Metaphorically. So remember the shot of him in
in
the
Barton
elevator
Fink's mind.
when everything's going bad and
Okay.
and it's just like sinking lower and lower, and it's like you never see
Yeah.
the elevator go up, you only see the elevator go down, and it's like that metaphor of he's going into hell. He's going into
Mm-hmm.
the underworld.
But he's
Okay.
not going. He's
Now-
not in hell when he goes to the studio guy.
He's going
right?
into it's not hell. He's going into the underworld. Now, this is something we should talk about in these movies and in this genre of the job film. Now, we have movies like Boogie Nights, and that's a film where the job is a family. Okay. He becomes part of the camaraderie of the group. Now, another movie like that is DC Cab. Okay. This is a movie about a young cab driver in Washington, D.C., who meets all these friends. Okay. But the other job movie, and I don't know why this is just a common thing. Repo Man. He goes into the underworld. He goes into a new, dark, seedy underbelly of the city. He finds aliens. He finds a conspiracy. He
Well,
finds all this crazy shit. And then
'Cause
American
Lucifer,
Gigolo.
it's the city of angels, bro. It's just a direct. It's a direct
Yeah,
like
but
bit. That's everybody does. That's
Plus,
always
it's a-
been a thing.
it's a mental hell that he goes through. But yeah, American
Yeah,
Gigolo.
and also
he-
Hollywood has all the fucking pedophile. It's the closest thing to hell we probably got in America. The underbelly of Hollywood is skeezy, right?
look, until you crack open a 4-year-old's butthole, ride, you don't know what heaven is.
Oh my God,
Hey,
I know
that's
what heaven is.
Wow.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Crack it open like you're ripping a phone book in half.
Nice save.
Okay, that's what I
Very
heard.
good save. Okay.
I haven't made
That's
it
what
far
I've
enough.
heard and
That-
seen on the internet.
I
But
haven't made it far enough in the business to actually get there. I can only hear tales.
how far'd you get? Adrenochrome?
Danny DeVito's personal assistant told me in Elena Gelson's that
How tall is Danny DeVito's personal assistant?
Wait.
6'7". He only hires Amazon women. But anyway,
Oh,
People that
I
carry him
like that.
around like a little baby.
but here's the thing about these job movies. It's like you get a job, you have to go through the trial, you have to face the underworld, and then you have to come out on the other side. and it's either good or bad depending on the author, right? So Nightcrawler, that's a movie in LA where a guy gets a job and essentially goes through hell. He dominates the hell, the underworld.
Yeah,
and
because
he
he's
comes
a
out.
sociopath. Yeah.
Yeah, he comes out strong at the end. Barton Fink, of course, is not. He's a loser. He's an idiot. And this is why the Coen brothers are absurdists, and they think it's funny to watch. Like, this guy, he has all these great intentions, but he's full of shit. And they don't deny he's full of shit. And his life is just destroyed by this job. And it's not even that much of a temptation. He's not even that much of a sellout. It's like, who wouldn't go to LA to make movies if you're
It's
a
not that he's a sellout. I think it's that his hubris. I think it is his hubris. Because remember, I was thinking what you're saying, like, well, like, remember at the beginning of his play, he's watching his play and he's like, oh, he's like so like in like into it and stuff. And then like the stagehand guy, this like old Teamster kind of guy, like walks over and like yells that line off stage.
Fresh fish. Yeah.
Fresh fish. And then like goes and he's like, doesn't give a fuck. That's the common man.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and he like doesn't care. But Barton, poor Barton.
That's the thing.
Not poor Barton. The guy's a douchebag. He's just like a privileged playwright in New York that thinks he's a fucking.
Yeah, every artist needs to
changing the world with his playwright.
Anyway, needs to go through the Barton Fink treatment.
A play is never gonna change your life, except if you're Abraham Lincoln. A play is never gonna change your life.
I'm so happy Adam didn't ruin that joke.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't ruin that one too.
Because Adam could have jumped in and been like, no.
Actually, Hamilton was
Hamilton.
Actually, I
Hamlet. Hamilton. Oh, Hamilton the musical.
Actually, Hamilton the musical.
Yeah, I bring up something I saw on Hamilton.
I never voted.
Actually, the rap part in Hamilton fucking changed my life personally.
It made me vote for Trump. That's how it changed me. I watched Hamilton.
These liberals are going too far.
This is bullshit.
Rewriting history, and this is how you do it.
But yeah. So art will not change the world. It's hopeless to want to change the world, but I don't know. The funny thing is Joel Cohen and Frances McDormand. I was reading their Wikipedia study, like looking for this or researching this movie, and like they adopted a Paraguayan child. So they're doing
together.
Yeah, so they're saving.
Wait, who?
Ethan Cohen, the Cohen brothers.
Joel Cohen and Frances McDormand, his wife.
Oh,
the
Coen I thought you were talking to Cohen brothers. That was like that's what I thought you were saying.
Okay, I'm not an idiot.
They're just really good brothers.
That'd be cool.
And they just swap the kid out. How confusing for this kid.
Fuck.
We should adopt a kid.
The three of us together, like 3 men and a baby.
Yeah,
that's our pitch to the adoption agency.
And it's like a Zoom kid.
We show them the 3 men.
It's a Zoom kid. We never actually see it.
Yeah.
We do the podcast with them.
We just check in once a week.
Wait, I thought that hell. So like we kind of really are zeroing in on this hell being about.
So listen to
Go
this.
Ahead, say.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to get to a point and bring it back to the movie. Fuck.
Literal Adam.
So, but wait, this doesn't have anything to do with being Jewish.
Well, yeah, you go to hell if you're Jewish.
Well, that's why I started using the metaphor underworld instead of hell, because it's really the underworld. That's like,
yeah, that
makes it like, because the Greeks had an underworld, like in the Odyssey.
Everybody's got an underworld. Yeah.
So now about being Jewish, metaphorically, Jewish. Let's talk about the Jewish thing. So Barton Fink's Jewish. The studio head is Jewish. The studio head assistant guy is Jewish, who used to be the head of the studio, it seems like, that now gets abused, John Polito. But John Goodman's not Jewish, and then the cops aren't Jewish.
There's like an Aryan Jewish thing going on.
Yeah, so Roger Ebert in his review says the movie is there is not a full metaphor, but there's like undertones of like this could be a metaphor for the rise of Nazism in Europe, and that the leftist intellectuals, the Jewish intellectuals, didn't foresee the common man pursuing fascism. And just like Barton doesn't see the danger in Charlie. So we should talk about John Goodman because
Oh my God. So
So
fucking good.
they worked with him before on Raising Arizona, but at this time he was a big star because of Roseanne. This is like
Yeah.
John Goodman at the height
Mm.
of his stardom. He's now more of a character actor, but at this time they were trying to make him a leading man. You know, like King Ralph was around this time. Like
This was back before when he was like the kind of fat guy that could do cartwheels. You know what I mean? He was in like the perfect fat guy shape.
John Belushi or Chris Farley type.
Yeah. Kevin
Jack
James.
Black. Go on.
Oh, go on.
Melissa
No,
McCarthy.
keep naming
on.
fat people. Melissa McCarthy cannot do a cartwheel.
Dang, yeah. That's true.
Women cannot do cartwheels. That's a guy thing.
Are you sure about
Well,
that?
Pretty sure. Because I can't do one.
Are you
What do you say?
are you a trans?
This is how you're saying that you're trained.
Are you a trans or a res?
No, I'm just saying.
Like
Wink,
saying
wink.
this
That's a-
weird opinion about cartwheels, or then
That's a little callback to the Steve Buscemi scene. Are you a trans
it
or a
again.
res?
I
Oh.
remember.
So
took
John
note of that.
Goodman's awesome in this movie. Yeah. So the first night Barton Fink's in the hotel, he hears John Goodman crying, like blubbering, crying, like horrified screams, like a prison, almost like that first night
Yeah.
in Shawshank where that fat guy was crying, the fish, and like Barton
I think about
can't
that guy a lot.
sleep because it's you. So
No, I just feel bad for him. So,
He's a serial killer.
the fat guy in Shawshank.
why do you think
Oh,
about that guy
oh.
a lot?
I just feel
It's a
you know,
completely idiotic.
That's
You
who
know,
Adam is on the
I bet he was
inside.
really. I bet he
It's a
was really
movie.
scared that night and sad. I bet he was
It's-
really sad that he was in jail.
It's a movie. It's not real.
Adam, you're not an empath, by the
They
way.
should do a.
This
this
is
is how they
this is
feel.
what
This
an
is how
this is
empaths-
what
all
this
empaths
is
feel.
what an empath,
They picked
would-
up a lot.
somebody who is trying to pretend to be an empath would talk.
Saying that you're.
I
into
saw a
the
guy
fresh
cry.
guy.
I saw a guy cry movie, and I say, yeah, me cry because guy cry.
Well, I mean, you guys aren't empaths, so you don't get it. So I understand. It's cool.
Well, everything worked out for him.
What happened?
He died that first night. They killed him.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's sad.
So John Goodman's weeping. Absolutely
weep-
weeping.
Barton Fink calls on the phone to
Because he's
complain.
annoyed. Instead of knocking on the door, he calls the front desk and complains about his neighbor weeping.
Instead of being man to man or just leaving him alone.
That's funny.
Leave him. Let a man
Yeah,
weep
he
in
checks
privacy.
into this. He checks into this cheap hotel for like intention,
Here
you
we
know,
go.
with this intention, and then he hears, so he can be among the common men, and then he hears guy crying, and he calls down to them to shut up.
Mhm.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel this clear in the movie.
And then
That's
and
what's
then
going on.
immediate. Wait, are you serious?
As we break it down, I feel like
Are you fucking
obvious.
serious?
Very explicit, dude.
And
Well,
then
yeah,
John
Jesus, it's like you
Goodman
missed one fucking
immediately.
scene in the
I mean,
beginning and then-
look, you're a screenwriter. I don't expect you to get this. You're just a humble screenwriter, Adam.
And then the
Movie
I'm
editor,
an artist. I'm an
director of
artist.
2 films. I don't expect you to see these deep metaphors.
I was like
Now we should
two joints deep, a couple of twisted tall boys, maybe one eye open. Nah, actually, I watched it pretty early in the day at like 10 p.m.
Here's the thing about
You know what's
Adam. He's a dreamer. So when he watches a movie, he starts daydreaming. He starts going on
That's-
flights of fancy.
That's
That is
called
100%
fucking-
true.
That's called
Yes.
ADD.
Yeah.
And when I would do improv with Adam, or I would just watch Adam do improv, you just see the gears turning in his head, and you hear him like not listening, missing cues, not paying attention.
It's just
and-
not, that's not
How
my
do you
thing.
get through a day to day? How do you drive? How do you get past a stop sign?
It's very hard for him. He's having a hard time.
Oh, it's not hard. But I
Take
left
a
note
5-hour
to
energy or
myself
something.
to rewatch the beginning, and I didn't do that because I was like, I didn't really catch what they were talking about in that like bar scene and stuff.
That's not
after the
even that
play.
important of a scene. It kind of is.
It's just a setup. He gets a job.
Calls down to the thing. John Goodman's weeping. calls down, and then immediately John Goodman's knocking at his door and just menacingly standing in the door frame, and he's like, did you fucking call? Did you call downstairs on me?
Yeah, and it's this relationship that is the heart and soul of the movie, and it is my favorite thing about the movie. Yeah, so John Goodman comes in and is like, let me buy a drink. And he has like his little booze, right? His little whiskey or whatever, rye whiskey, and pours it in like a dirty cup, and they're drinking whiskey. And Barton starts talking about like, I'm working in pictures, you know, like I got all this work.
And then immediately describes the plot of the movie, how he wants to become the common man.
Yes.
Verbally says, I want to just get to know the common man. And as a common man talks to him, he keeps interrupting him. We already talked about this.
And so
it's pretty literal.
Very astute,
like they pretty literally.
Very astute.
All of the characters we interact with are either in the movie industry or they are common men. They're either cops, door-to-door salesmen, hotel lobby clerks, a bellhop, or they are drunk writers.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about my favorite character is that guy.
That's based on William Faulkner. Yeah, so
Rachel's
that guy,
dad.
Rachel's dad, who was born in England but raised in America. You know, here's a little trivia that's off-roading, but I just realized yesterday reading his Wikipedia, because this is what I do. I go on Wikipedia runs. Mel Gibson was born in America and then moved to Australia when he was 12.
Whoa.
That's why he can do such a good American accent. And I was always confused, like, why doesn't
Mel Gibson doesn't he's not American accent? What does he sound like?
He can flip between an Australian accent and an American accent very easily.
But in like interviews, he does American.
Yeah, because he's born in America. He was born in America.
He's doing interviews as himself, but he's doing it as an accent.
Well, he lost it. He lives in America now, so he doesn't have an Australian accent. If you leave, it's like a guy. Fact. But if he gets drunk, I bet it comes out. Anyway, so yeah, we got the drunk.
No, we've heard when Mel Gibson gets drunk. He doesn't go in an Australian accent. He goes in an anti-Semitic accent.
Yeah.
I wonder if he likes this movie.
Oh, he probably loves watching Barton Fink go through hell.
Just laughing.
Yeah.
Just with a hard on. Just drinking and getting hard. Yeah. So the writer, William Faulkner, he's awesome. Or W.P. Mayhew. He's completely full of himself. Barton needs advice. He can't write the script. He's such a fucking idiot. He can't see. Barton doesn't actually watch wrestling pictures or genre films, so he can't write them.
Oh yeah, and then John Goodman gives him a little lesson. That shit was.
John Goodman teaches him about wrestling, beats the shit out of him, and then the W.P. Mayhew guy just is like, his advice is horrible. Like, I just like making things up, you know. And it turns out his wife, his assistant,
wrote the last 3 books.
Yeah, is writing for him. That's another common thing based on real Hollywood lore. Like, yeah, there's all sorts of women who've been written out of history.
Behind every great man is a hot ass, thick piece of ass, juicy ass woman. You know what I mean?
One of the jobs back then that they would let women have was editing, because they felt it was like sewing, like you would cut and sew film together. So they're like, oh, women would be good editors. So a lot of editors were women. That's how they used to think, like in the 40s.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's also like
and look how good the movies were back in the 40s.
So I just want to say Adam now as an editor is stealing jobs from women.
That's true.
You're not an ally, bro.
Fuck. I'm a piece of shit. I should just die.
Yeah, because you're doing like a gay drag editing a great gay drag show right now too, which
yeah,
you're stealing so many jobs. Yeah,
they're stealing the clothes from women, and then Adam's stealing the jobs from women.
Yep. It's like an occupation drag sort of thing.
Or maybe as a men's rights activist, Adam feels that men can just do better.
I just think,
What you think about that, Adam?
I think I could show these women a thing or two about wearing dresses. What are we talking about? Good stuff, guys. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now for work.
Adam, you're 100%
grateful.
you're 100%, and I mean, no disrespect. You're 100% going to accidentally leave your kid at a gas station one day.
Oh, I won't.
Like, forget.
okay.
I mean, and you're gonna get like a block away and panic, and then turn around and go pick them up. But
No.
That's okay.
If anyone's listening, that would get upset.
It
about
happens
that,
to
If
the
don't
anyone's
best
have
of
listening,
us.
call
It
Child
happens to the
Protective
best of them.
Services.
Yeah, right.
I've been left
Let's-
plenty of
It's a fun
places
thing
forgotten
to joke
about.
about.
We need a social worker coming to the house.
I've been forgotten about a lot of places. My mom ran a daycare. She always had 13 kids in tow.
Would you hang out at the daycare?
Yeah, it was at her house. It was in my room. It was like my
You like
basement.
had to be in at. It was like you were at daycare.
No, I was like doing unpaid labor, helping my mom take care of kids.
As like a kindergartner.
So, John Good-
Officer Bowers on the case, asking the hard questions. The cops in this
Right.
movie are funny. They
Oh,
have
man,
great
yeah.
questions. Very snappy
I don't
dialogue.
talk that much right now.
I'm sure that snappy dialogue, the back and forth, probably went right over Adam's head. I'm just gonna.
No,
right?
I loved it.
It's very fast.
I did not. I got it. I got it all.
You liked it. Good.
I liked it.
So-
And I got it.
Yeah, let's get back to the relationship, John Goodman, because that is obviously the best relation. That is the foundation of the movie. Is
It's a
those
pretty
two?
deep friendship, where it's like a rich like depiction of
okay.
male friendship.
So that's their first interaction. They
What?
become friends.
Just say things.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
Just say
You don't
things
have
to
to
say
say
things.
words.
Okay. I just got done saying that. I
Like
was
a
like, that was
fuck,
talking
it's
about
like
it
an
not talk.
extremely fucked up relationship. First of all, Barton's a dick. And then
Barton's a
John-
dick, and John Goodman is a fucking serial killer.
who sees right through him.
Yes, and I think he kind of likes him though,
Yes.
because he's so
Well, he likes
because
torturing
he
him.
likes well, yeah, and he likes how oblivious
Well,
Barton
he also
Fink
says-
is to the whole.
Often I feel sorry for them. I think he just sees right through Barton and just knows.
Yeah.
It's like Barton has no street smarts. He has no.
He hardly
that's-
has any smarts.
And here's the thing, honestly, street
Mm.
smarts are. Having a knowledge of street smarts is so important for being a screenwriter and making movies, because if you don't understand that shit, you're not going to depict any sort of believable reality. If you can't
Mhm.
depict like, oh, that guy's a hustler, he's fucking you over. Like, what are you thinking? Like, if you can't spot that shit, you'll never write a movie. If you're just in your head, like Barton, and you're writing these, like he says, a lot of writers focus on empty formalism, and that's exactly what he does, right?
What does that mean?
He's just focusing on trying
Empty
to make
formalism?
a point, trying
Oh.
to have a message, and not on,
A good
A-
script.
like a script, like a script that crackles or like has any tension, or has any like danger. Like I said, all he has to do is write a genre film. It's a very simple kind of sports movie where the guy has to either, a mafia, like look at any boxing movie. It's like there's a mafia guy who's like, hey, you got to throw the fight. And then the guy has to make the choice of whether or not
Yeah.
he's actually going to throw the fight. Pulp Fiction has to deal with that. Raging Bull, Rocky.
Every movie, every boxing movie.
The perfect boxing movie would be Rocky. Okay. If Barton had any brains, he'd be writing Rocky. But
No,
Honestly,
he could
here's the
not.
thing.
Stallone wrote that, right?
the thing is, honestly, Rocky might be too smart for that studio head. I think that studio head would have rejected it, honestly.
Oh, I feel like they were just like making Hallmark movies.
Yes. They want a Hallmark movie. So
Okay, second interaction with John Goodman. What do they do? I'm kind of forgetting. Oh, he comes in and says he's got to go out of town, right?
well, first
No,
second
that's
second
after
interactions
the
to
lady
wrestling.
dies.
He's like, I gotta show
Oh,
you.
yeah.
He's like, Jack Oakey.
And they're like becoming friends now. I love the second
Yeah.
one because Barton's kind of excited to hang with him because he doesn't know anybody else. He's the only person keeping him kind of grounded.
Plus, he gets to like, he feels better than him, and he can like,
Yeah,
spout
yeah,
his
yeah.
lofty ideas, cut him off, not listen to him.
God, I really want to talk about a relationship I have with a friend that is exactly this, but I'm not gonna. I'm a serial killer in this situation. I'm not Barton Fink.
It's not me, right? You're not talking about me.
No, I would easily talk about that on air.
Okay. All right, good.
Imagine if you had a friend that you just tortured every week. Every time you saw them, you just like fucked with them.
Every week.
Just because he fucking called
Doesn't-
down on him being
Yeah.
too loud, just
When
because of
just-
a
when he
noise
was
complaint.
crying.
He spends a month or two torturing Barton Fink.
because this guy's
But
just.
Barton doesn't
fool.
even know. Barton doesn't even
doesn't
know he's
listen.
getting tortured. He has no idea he's getting tortured the entire movie. Because Goodman's not really. That's why I think they were actually kind of friends. I think Goodman actually liked him, or it was like a plaything for him. You know.
You're saying when John Goodman's like kind of like a Dom personality. So when he's Dom,
Well, by
he
the
actually
third-
likes it.
He wasn't domed though.
He is a Dom. He's like a killer guy.
But Barton
Right.
Fink did not dom him though.
Or is that a sub?
And
Like a
eventually-
like a sub's revenge sort of way to behave?
What are you talking about? Is that how
Like-
you think
Okay,
of friendship?
so-
Or like a
Tom
serial
and
killer.
sub?
Every friendship is a Dom and a sub.
Tom and Jerry.
Every
they're a-
relationship, really.
They're a dom and a sub.
Every relationship.
Wile
boils down to a Dom
Coyote
or
and
sub.
Roadrunner.
Listen to this lizard of a human try to talk about people.
Why am I? Look, it's just
Are
that's
you?
from my observations of throughout life. My 30.
What are your observations? Man, I would love an hour to see the world how you'd see it.
Are you a dom or a sub, Adam?
Dom? Of course.
No, I didn't ask you. To be honest.
Okay. It's okay that being a sub is okay, but
It was Dom, of course. This guy he finally doesn't have to record in a shed in the backyard, and he thinks he's in control of the relationship.
Is a dom.
A Dom, of course, when every other
a
weekend he like
obvious
gets kicked
Dom.
outside.
Well, here's the
His
thing.
wife asked him to go do laundry just to get out of the house for an hour.
They say psychologically you'll flip
to the
it
library.
based on your status in life. So like a low status person would
who
be
says
very
this? Who says
They science.
they?
lots of people. Well, it's like a high status
Science.
person obviously likes to be dominated like by BDSM dominatrix. Like rich executives like to be like tied up and beaten, because
Look, I
they're
don't
very
want to be a
powerful.
Dom. That's just how it is. Okay.
Because
I
you have a
don't
low
choose it.
status.
No, I'm like a cool Dom. I'm not like trying to Dom.
like
I'm
a
just,
like a
it's happening.
shades of gray Dom.
No. That's too much. That's too much. I don't mean like that. I just mean like, I'm chill.
Like who?
I'm a chill Dom.
Dude, that
Who?
sounds like a sub,
Like,
dude.
I don't know me. It's my own thing. I'm
Like-
the only guy that can do it.
Hey, I'm Adam. I'm like a really chill Dom. Like I'm so chill. Like if you tell me to do something, I'll just do it. Like I won't question it. I'll
That's how
just
chill
do
of
it.
a Dom I
The
am. Yeah.
insecurity of being
Sub.
a sub
If you go
in
on a
any
whip me,
way
or
is
tie me
very
up,
telling.
I'm chill.
There's
It's
just-
cool.
If you want to win, even if I say no, I'm chill.
Imagine like Adam is such a Barton Fink because it's like he doesn't want to be a sub. He doesn't want to,
But in
have
the
any
John Goodman
weakness.
relationship, I am this Dom. You know what
See
I'm
the
saying?
insecurity, like just the like inability to just have any acceptance for reality. Until you
I'm
accept
saying it's
reality, Adam, you can't dominate it. Okay.
You just got Tony
Wow.
Romo, Tony whatever his name is.
The restaurant guy? Is that a
The
restaurant?
barbecue,
Yeah.
The guy with the big head.
barbecue and inspirational, motivational speaking.
I mean, I
You
guess
think a
that's the
Dom-
traditional Dom way of thinking, but I'm like a new type and more evolved. Sort of
Did you? What did you just
And then he's
say?
like,
A
he's
new what?
covering his
Ty-
when
kind
a
of
person
type.
covers their mouth with their hand, I think they're lying.
No, it means I'm
Right?
cheap.
Do you remember what
Being
you're talking
sheepish.
about?
Yeah, being a Dom. Yeah. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I'm such a Dom. I could fucking do that, and it works still.
You're a Dom DeLuise. You're a skinny
God,
Dom DeLuise.
I want your wife. I want your wife to
Dom.
walk in the room right now and tell you to do something.
Dom DeLuise is the ultimate Dom. He's like he's our guy that we look I'll look up to. All the
I'm more of
dogs.
like a Beta White kind of guy, like a Betty White,
Beta White. That's
but
cool.
a Beta White.
That's cool.
I love being a beta,
That's a good-
man. I don't
That
understand why
could be a
people.
good drag character, actually.
I'm a switch.
Beta
I
White?
can,
If you wanted to be a drag queen or whatever, you could be. Beta
I'm a
White.
switch. I can dom or sub. You know, I have no problem.
I'm
I've-
asexual,
I have
so I don't do
absolute
either.
confidence in everything I do, whether I'm being tortured or whether I'm torturing someone. It's the only way to go through life, if you ask me.
That's a very dom attitude of you, actually, Will.
Dom DeLuise.
Do you leave the house when you
Bingo.
know you're probably gonna have diarrhea?
I look forward to it.
That's fucking.
Because
nuts,
that's a
dude.
dom move. Chug a coffee
You're nuts.
and then just walk. Then walk out the house and walk for like 40 minutes
On a really hot day.
any day.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you get really sweaty. Your pants get sweaty.
Okay, third. So
The inside of your pants get really sweaty.
John Goodman mentions. I mean, I'm saying this for Adam because pretty much everything that anybody says in the movie, either happens or comes back to have an effect. Right.
I caught some of those.
And John Goodman says, and I think it's in the first or the second interaction, he comes in and he's a little giddy, right? And they're like, "Did you hear the neighbor they were having sex or something?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah." Oh, he goes, "It must be the pipes." John Goodman's like, "It must be the pipes. I can hear everything through those pipes." And then fast forward a little bit, Barton Fink is hooking up with that broad,
Yeah. After
the one who's been writing everything.
Judy
Oh, and
Davis, the chick from Naked Lunch,
It doesn't.
who
Like
is Australian.
pan away. Oh man, they always sneak in. You know.
Doesn't it pan
When they
away
have
from
sex, go on, Adam. They have sex, and then the
Doesn't
camera
it pan
pans.
away to like pipes when they do that?
Yes, it goes into the pipes, and
So
like
he's
as if
saying-
it's a POV of the sound.
So John Goodman killed her.
Yes. Are you
That's what I'm
serious?
saying.
Jesus.
Well, I thought it was like.
So then Barton Fink
surreal
hooks
stuff.
up with her, and he wakes up to her
What's
corpse,
up with the flames?
blood
So the-
everywhere.
So the pipe. Okay, hold on. The pipe thing, first of all, is a sexual metaphor.
It is.
That's why it goes into the pipe, into the sink.
But he also
like-
says
it's
he
like a
can
ti-
hear
it's like-
everything.
Yes, John Goodman can hear everything in the pipes, but the other thing that's crazy is that the couple having sex is on one side of Barton Fink's apartment. John Goodman's on the other.
Yeah.
So John Goodman is just like, it's not like Barton Fink can hear all the other apartments. You know what I mean? John
No,
Goodman,
he's creeping.
He's creeping.
But why
fine.
is the wallpaper have got brains under it or whatever? Like
That was glue.
and,
It's
like,
supposed
why
to be
is
like
the-
wallpaper glue or cum or something.
It's hot. Look, why is the
It's
wallpaper
hot and
melting?
no, but
and
like
it's
the
a
wall
dump.
behind it is like, no, isn't it like
It's not made
fleshy,
out-
like hell shit?
Yeah,
It's like
So-
It's
trippy.
hell.
Yeah.
because it's
So-
a metaphor for hell.
So all that stuff is a metaphor, but John Goodman actually killed the woman.
Okay, so here's another thing that's going.
Yes.
Yes, John Goodman is the murderer. He is responsible
And
for all
John
the
Goodman's
killings.
also in hell,
Yes,
but the cops
He's-
go in the hotel as well.
I think we're the hell
Okay,
metaphor
you're-
is only coming from Barton Fink's angle.
We
Hey,
need
you
to
have to
talk
remember-
about this. This is
okay.
the most important thing in the movie.
You have to remember with metaphors and subtextual interpretation, Adam, is that they aren't literal.
But
So,
it's like
if you're
there's
trying to figure out literal
things
rules,
happening within
You're
it.
trying to figure out literal rules for every single little bit. It's gonna fall apart. It's like
This is what happened when I read Kafka, dude.
Kafka.
Poked all the
it's-
holes in Kafka's.
You're like, did a wizard turn him into a cockroach?
Yeah. Oh, a wizard did this.
Why is a man a cockroach?
Surely a wizard did this.
Okay, so
Yep.
here's what's going on. The hotel is a state of mind, and then the hell is a state of mind. So Barton Fink is experiencing the hell of writer's block physically through the hotel. And also John Goodman is part of the physical metaphor of the hotel. And that when the wallpaper drips and the glue pours down, there's a scene where John Goodman at the end of the film, you see his ear like
It
drip,
keeps bleeding. Yeah. Well, because he says he's got pussy drainage. Yeah.
like clear. He has an ear infection. His clear liquid and pours out of his ear, just like the glue pours out of the
Mhm.
hotel. And it's also, to skip forward a bit, the picture of the girl on the beach.
Mhm.
Okay, so when at the end of the film, when Barton Fink sees the exact same image from the hotel room, what it's saying is that the hotel room is transformed Barton, and he'll never be the same again. And wherever he goes, he will still have
He's
a
gonna be
piece of
reminded. Yeah.
a piece of that hell with him forever.
Well, you
So
don't
it's
see
like-
John Goodman running down a hall on fire, with a fucking chainsaw or
Shotgun.
whatever he's got, shotgun, screaming. What does he scream?
I don't know.
What is that? I'm gonna have to look.
Oh,
it
Do
up.
you
yeah,
know the life
something-
of the mind?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that it? Just over and over and over? He's just screaming that, right?
Yeah.
Is that a metaphor?
Well, Barton says, like, Charlie, I envy you. You don't have to actually worry about the life of the mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
he's
just-
like
you
calling
have
him
a
a
jo-
fucking simpleton, basically.
Yeah, you just clock in, you clock out. You don't have the pain I go through.
right, right.
And this is a guy who
He also does. He's also never asked John Goodman what his job is. They never talk about.
Yeah, they
He
do.
does?
He's
Oh,
an
okay.
insurance salesman. So,
Oh yeah. That's
but
right.
the cops
that's right.
say he's lying. He's not an insurance salesman.
Yes.
No one would hire him. So, Barton dismisses him and says, like, only I know pain and suffering. I'm a writer for a movie.
Mhm.
This is the hard life of work. Trust me. You don't want it. You think I envy you, the common man, right? But the common man, of course, has real problems. So
Not problems that you've invented.
Yeah,
for
he's not
yourself.
getting paid
Correct.
$1,000 a week
Through
to sit in a
hubris.
hotel.
Yeah.
remember, the hotel costs $25 a week.
Yes.
So he could afford such a better hotel. Like, if you like go,
Well, they even offered to pay to put him in a different one, right?
he
But
could be in a swimming pool. He could be banging chicks. He could be
just saying
like,
that's his life, though. Is like, yeah,
That's the
he
lesson.
wanted
That's what
it
should
and
have
he
done
got
instead.
he wanted it and he got it. And that's like what a fool would ask for. It's like, no, I want to experience hell. Okay, you're now going to experience it. That's kind of
Yeah.
what John Goodman is doing to him. Like, John Goodman's listening to him and is like, oh, you want to see the life of the common man? I'll show it to you. It's like a fucking caveman existence of death and murder and rape and pillaging and and torture. Decapitation. Yeah. So that scene where, now we skipped over so much. So that amazing scene where John Turturro wakes up in the morning, sees the mosquito on Judy Davis, slaps it really hard, and she doesn't react. And then all the blood starts pouring out underneath her, and he starts screaming. I mean, that shit is so funny. John Turturro,
so
what a
good.
great
Yes.
scream.
And then John Goodman comes and hides the body for him, and
Immediately
That's
comes
what-
in because he's
Dude,
been
and-
waiting all morning for him to wake up.
yes,
Oh yeah, he's like
and
sweating.
he just starts bawling. He's like, "You're the only one I know." When he has to leave the next day or whatever, that shit is it. But bro, yeah, he comes in the next day. He helps get rid of the body. Comes in the next day with a box that could perfectly fit a head in it, a head-shaped box, and then hands it to him. He's like, "I got to go out of town for a few days, but I want you to hold on to this."
And then Barton tells him, like, hey, when you're in New York, make sure you look up my family so you can get a home cooked meal.
Yes.
And gives him the
Well, then he
address.
He gives them
them.
the address. Yes. And
Yeah,
then he
wait.
goes and
He murders
he
all
goes
of them.
and he murders the other
His
the
entire
other-
living, his
authors,
entire
everybody that he interacts with in the movie he murders except
Well,
for like
not
the
the-
producer and the
not the studio head, but
and
he
the
kills.
bellhop. Yeah. He kills the girl that he hooked up with, the writer, and then he kills the drunk writer too. They just
Yes.
mentioned that. And then he goes to New York. First, after killing the girl, decapitating her, putting her head in a box, he gives the box to Barton and then goes to New York and kills his family.
He just him a fucking
Well,
lesson.
While Barton is just sitting there with a freaking decapitated head next to his typewriter.
And then Barton,
as far as we know, they never show the box. They never open the box.
and this other thing, like, you don't listen. So then he takes the cotton and puts it in his ears, and then he writes the screenplay finally after all the procrastination. And then he writes like a giant screenplay. It's like a stack that's
It's like 120 papers
two
or
or three
pages.
pages. No, it's bigger than that. It's like 200 pages long. Writes a giant screenplay, like fucking. He basically writes Raging Bull, you know, when he says like, if you're a real man, you slap me and all this shit. Like he writes like the ultimate vile, like awesome screenplay. And it probably was an awesome movie, but like,
Yeah.
this isn't what they want. This is not what they hired him for. They don't want like an ultra hard boiled movie for William Beery or whatever the fuck this guy is. Like,
They want something that Adam could pay attention to.
Yeah.
well, also it's like
Something all rainbows and sausages.
that movie Sullivan's
Well, like-
Travels, you know, where the guy's like, that's a very similar situation. That guy wants to make a movie for the common man, and he wants to like make a movie for the real person, and he has to like suffer in the underworld of America in the Depression era South. And like what he realizes at the end is that when he's in a chain gang and he watches a Mickey Mouse
A comedy or whatever.
yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
just is like, oh
cartoon.
yeah, they just want to see comedy because their life sucks. That's what the common man wants to see. They don't want to
Yeah.
see dark and edgy, pretentious bullshit. They don't want to
Unless
see,
it's Batman or something.
yeah, unless it's Batman. They want it, and that's pretty simple moral tale. Or the Joker, surprisingly, but even that's kind of like a watered down Taxi Driver, right? So
Mm-hmm.
only in the Batman franchise does the common man explore the dark realities of the world.
That get you?
But yeah, so Barton writes the screenplay, gets it to the studio head. The studio head is who loved him and is like kind of a maniac, hates it, says he'll never work in the business ever again.
But he's got to keep writing for them.
He's under contract forever.
Yeah, he's like anything. Doesn't he say like anything you write, you'll never like we'll just shelf, which is
they're
a
like,
thing
"We
people
own
do,
the
right?
contents of your head.
Is that a thing producers can do? I guess if you sign a
Not like
contract,
this,
but
not like that. I
no.
mean, this is a very
maybe for like a couple years or a couple scripts.
I think
but-
it's like
The
a number of scripts.
the
Yeah.
Like you deliver.
the extremeness of this, of course, is over the top and exaggerated for
Yes.
comedy. But
And for
Yes.
the Kafka quality.
it's not a
just
Kafka's
drop
tale.
it. Just drop
It's
the
not.
Kafka.
It's not. Wait, it's
drop
not.
the
I thought we
Kafkes.
agreed that it was.
Are you retarded? Kafka was Jewish. That's about it that I can only.
All right. All right. Okay, forget it. It's not Kafka. Kafka.
So
I don't even know.
before
Kafka.
that, he writes a screenplay,
okay.
and before he can deliver it, I keep telling you this out of order. So he finishes the screenplay, and then the cops show up, and they're like, "Hey, Barton, you know, we didn't even talk about the first cop interaction." So the cops show up looking for John Goodman, and they show him a picture. They're like, "Do you know this guy?" And it's John Goodman in overalls, like getting his
Mhm.
mugshot taken, and he's in this like dirty, like Southern jail, all fucked up. And they're like, "That's Munt, Carl Munt,
Old
also-
Madman Munt.
Madman Munt. He's a murderer, yada yada yada." And they're like anti-Semitic. They're like, "Fink, is that a Jewish name?"
Mhm.
That part's funny. And then the cops come back. They're gonna arrest Barton because WP Mayhew has been murdered, and that's when John Goodman shows up. Who walks around the corner, has this bag, his traveling salesman bag, opens it up and takes out a giant shotgun. Immediately kills one of the cops.
Just blasts him.
Yes, and then starts running down the hallway, and like fire is like following him down the hallway. And it sucks they didn't have digital effects.
Oh,
Back then, 'cause
dude, because he
It's the-
okay.
the one thing
that
that they need to do is fix the wire that is igniting. There's like a
Oh, you can see it.
what's it called? A fuse. There's a fuse on
wick,
the
yeah.
hallway. Yeah, like that's lighting up. They could paint that out so easily digitally and do the effect. The same
I didn't.
way.
I didn't even notice it.
Damn.
To be
I
honest,
always
because I was
look
too
at
busy.
it.
I'm sure I'd see it now. I was looking at the fire to see like how they did it. But okay, so yeah, they go into his room. They
So
go
what
into
they-
Barton Fink's room before this,
Yeah,
and they're and
they read the
and they're-
script.
They just walk in and they're like goofing on the script, But then his mattress just covered in blood is right there. And they're like, what's up with that?
Well, it's funny because like
He's
one
about
of
to
the
get
cops
caught.
hates the script, and the other cop is like, I don't know, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It probably is a good script. That's another funny thing about the movie.
Yeah.
He does the thing he wants too, but it doesn't actually accomplish anything. It makes things worse.
He walks out with the script though. But
Yes.
anyway, so then the fire starts coming up from the thing. So he just lit the whole bitch on fire, the whole hotel on fire, and then got in the John Goodman and then got on the elevator and started going up. That's like a fucking badass.
Well, he doesn't come out of the elevator. He comes around the corner.
Oh yeah. Well, either way, lighting a building on fire and then following the flame. That shit was dope.
It's a cool move.
And then
it's
you
like
think,
a Mark
and then
Wahlberg sort of thing.
And I feel like at that moment, that's when I was like, I think he kind of likes Barton because he was like saving him. Essentially, he murdered the cops and like burned the whole place down. So
buddies.
now Barton's get off.
Kind of likes
free.
him. Killed his whole family.
I mean, you know what I mean? Though?
Killed
Like,
a woman
he
in his bed. Framed him for
in
murder.
a twisted way. Like he doesn't want to get rid of Barton because Barton's his little plaything. So he's not going to kill Barton Fink.
Yes. But
that's
also
what I mean by he like likes him in like a serial killer way. He's just like, I'm going to really torture this guy.
Let me
It's a
ask
work
you
in
something.
progress.
Do you think Hitler kind of liked the Jews?
No, crippled though. He kind of liked them.
It would be like, they're very sneaky, these Jews. I kind of like them.
He kept them around to make lamps and stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's true. It's safe to give him the benefit of
liked
the
him.
doubt that he
kinda liked him.
I'm not exactly sure.
Most of his furniture was made out of Jewish leather, so he kind of liked.
I think you're thinking of
Jewish leather.
the guy.
Ryan, I
The
have some
scientist.
terrible
The
news to
scientist.
tell you.
I think he. I think you're thinking of the guy the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on. And
No, there was a Nazi scientist who
you're
was
right,
known
he's
for
right.
making
Gabe
skin.
Goebbels.
He was making
Goebbels.
lampshades.
Goebbels.
Skin of. You don't know this?
William,
This
he's right.
infamous Nazi
William doesn't think that
scientist.
hold on,
happened.
who did Adam? Who did it?
Goebbels.
Who done it? Who?
Goebbels.
Goebbels and Johnson. Or
Joseph
whatever.
Goebbels,
Joseph Goebbels.
head of
Goebbels,
propaganda.
the baby food.
That's right.
The baby food company.
Joseph Goebbels.
He's
Anybody ever call him that to stick it to the Nazis?
You're wild.
Joseph Goebbels escaped from Nazi Germany and was found hidden in Richard Gere's asshole.
Yeah, like an old German man, like how they hide out in Argentina.
Exactly.
A little gerbil. Little German gerbil.
A
out
little
there.
gerbil with like blonde hair.
And a little
although Goebbels
Swazi on
did
its
have blonde
forehead.
hair. Little
Yeah.
Nazi
Little shitty bowl
uniform.
cut.
Joseph Goebbels.
Joseph Gerbils. That'd be a cool name for a gerbil. You think there's a Nazi with a like online who's like, sad news today, guys. Joseph Gerbils died. After just a week ago, we celebrated his birthday, and there's like a birthday party with like a little cheese with a candle in it.
Some busted looking ass gerbil. Not even a cute one, just a gross ass, like patchy. It's got mange.
Yeah. Well, Hitler wasn't Aryan, you know what I mean?
Correct.
So the
Neither was-
gerbil, it looks
neither
like
was-
shit, but it is still like a gerbil.
No, that was
supremacist.
Goebbels. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we've gone on a
Goebbels
little
wasn't-
tandent.
A hunky guy? Yeah, let's go ahead.
So
So then he goes
kills
in.
one of
he
the
just,
cops. Carl Monk kills one of the cops, and then he goes to the other cop, and I love this part. He puts the shotgun right up to his head, and this is where like the Coen brothers, they're really after Miller's Crossing. Like after Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, and now with this one, they're so good at directing now. They know how to like hold on a shot and really make something like have impact. When he puts that shotgun right up to his head on the cop and goes, "Hail Hitler," and then like
oh my god,
the
dude,
cop starts
why?
screaming and just blows his brains out. It's so awesome.
Was that? Yeah,
Why did he
well,
say that?
he was fucking with him. He was just
John
crazy. Yes, he's mad mutt.
Well, he's insane.
Yeah, he was just fucking with him.
Yeah, we just said Heil Hitler as like a crazy thing to say.
Well, it's also like
yeah. But also those guys,
Well, it's
there was like
confusing.
such an
At this point-
anti-Semitic theme through this whole
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Like there was like
But the
that whole
cops aren't
back
even-
and forth.
the cops aren't even Jewish. It's like
No, but like they were also being anti-Semitic towards Barton Fink. So again, in a way, he's kind of Barton Fink's little hero in this moment where he's like doing one little
Interesting,
anti-Semitic quit where he's like, "Hail Hitler," pop, and then he's like, "I guess the
Oh.
dude."
Munt is a German name, right?
Oh,
Yeah, and he's also
yes.
probably he
He
could
is
be
a
could be
Nazi.
fucking a Nazi. Yeah.
Well, it's also
And he was from the
maybe it's
South. He's
Heil
just like a
Hitler.
hick from the South. So yeah, he probably 100% is a Klansman.
But what if
At least.
he?
And our brother, he played a Klansman too.
What if he was saying Heil Hitler the way like a Nazi would say Heil Hitler to another Nazi that they had to
Out of
kill?
like respect. Yeah.
And he's like, we're both.
A tear comes down his face right before he pulls the trigger.
It's
Did anybody
definitely a
tell
German name.
The Coen brothers that this movie's it's a little confusing.
No.
Stuff happens, and you're just like, why did that just happen? And then you're thinking about it, and then the movie's already like off on a different.
Yeah, what's
thing.
funny is Adam is a Coen Brothers character. He's the dumb guy who doesn't get it. You know what I mean?
He's Barton Fink.
I get it. Don't get me wrong.
What? That's all we're doing is getting you wrong.
I get.
Or I guess
get
you're the
movie.
one getting the movie wrong.
No, I get it. Now I get it.
No.
You guys discuss, hey, look, it's a confusing movie. It's like
It's kind of trippy, yeah.
You got to
You
talk
gotta-
about it. It's a movie that you go at.
You
You,
gotta
you
listen
talk
to-
about it when you're walking out of the movie.
Yeah, but you
just-
talked
That you
about
saw
the
it.
exclusively the obvious parts. So Barton Fink, he was, and this was a little confusing to me. He was, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think he was like a writer.
I think
Like I think there's a metaphor for him being a writer or something. I don't know if they talked about it.
I picked up on that.
he's just a little perplexed because he relates so much to the Steve Buscemi character. He's overwhelmed.
crawling out of a hole in the ground.
That book is very hellish, right? That big, thick book.
Oh my god, yeah, that's like the sign-in sheet. I was trying to look at all the names. I wanted
And
to
then-
freeze frame it and read all the names.
It also says a day or a lifetime.
Yeah,
know,
because it's
like-
like, are you a resident or a transient?
Transient. Now he's muted and he doesn't know. So Adam put his mute on and then coughed on
clearly.
Mike. He tried to mute his coughed on Mike, and then
Did you see me looking at it, and be like, "What? That sounds super."
How did you make 2 movies, Adam? How did you not hit record, film like 10 minutes scene,
Adam's
and then
just-
realize
you know
when
way
you hit
stupider.
record, you turned it off
he's
instead of on.
Maybe
the
I have
studio
this,
head. Adam is the studio head. You know what I mean? He gets shit done. He orders people around.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Dom. Thank you, William.
I'm a casual dumb.
We got one of the greatest bathing suits in movie history.
Yeah, that's cool.
His,
I got one of
like-
those. I got one of those ones that goes real high up
The-
and almost
studio
touches my
head is-
nipples.
Yeah, he's wearing that
Oh, yeah.
high-waisted bathing suit with like a gold plated belt buckle.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then Munt walks into Barton's room, and Barton is like handcuffed to the bed. And this is the best scene in the movie. This is my favorite part. And when he goes, he tells him it like it is, like, you know, you're just a tourist with a typewriter. I actually live here. You come into my home and you complain. And then Barton's like, well, why did you do this? And then John Goodman screams, because you don't listen. And that goes all the way back to the first
So
scene.
good. So good.
What
You think
first? Oh, the first scene with John Goodman.
You think I made your life hell? You think I annoyed you? Or whatever he says. He's like, yeah,